Hey everybody, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. Hope everybody had a good week, good weekend. You know, um, I did, but hey, I work all the time. But so to me, they all kind of blend into each other, right? The week and the weekend. It's all the same to me when it comes down to it, especially if you're working all the time. But if you like what you're doing, then hey, it's all good, right? Hope everybody's having a good day. Come on in. Uh, for those who are going to see the replay, I want to say good day to you too, and come on in the chat, say hi. And today we're going to talk about things that you shouldn't do, even if you want to, or if you're going to do it, please have some supervision, because I know when you're a DIY person or you like to, you're a hands-on person, you're pretty eager to just jump in, right? And but that could be a big mistake, right? If you're not careful. Okay, if you're not careful, a lot of DIY projects, they seem easy, but they have hidden costs. Okay, so today we're going to talk about some DIY projects that you should maybe think twice about. Okay, matter of fact, some DIY projects or some things that you can handle yourself actually require getting permits and stuff like that. So a lot of people don't know that, right? So if you don't get the permits, you don't stay up to code, guess what? You get an inspector, they can come in there and tear all the stuff down, all the stuff you built, right? All the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears you put into that project, that remodel, that addition, or whatever you want to call it. If it's not up to code and you didn't get a permit, they can come in there and tear it down. Hey, Perry Life Notes, how you doing today? Good evening to you as well. Good to see you in the house. Perry Life Notes, my ride or die right there. All right. So yeah, so we're going to talk about some things that you should be careful about when it comes to DIY, when it comes to different projects. Most of it is house related, home improvement stuff. Um, Next time, I think I'll probably talk more about even like mechanical stuff when it comes to fixing your car and all that stuff. So if you have some skills already, right? Say you got some skills under your belt, you're not quite a newbie when it comes to DIY. You do have some carpentry skills. You do got some mechanical skills, some painting skills, some building skills, or some trade skill. Then I wouldn't necessarily. Some of this stuff doesn't necessarily apply to you guys, but for the newbie, okay, um, I would listen up, right? Because someone who's been in the trades before, they're kind of familiar with some things, right? Already. So let's jump right into it. I don't like to waste a lot of time. I like to jump right into it. But come on into the chat, say hi. We're always good to. We like to welcome everybody here. Okay, first thing on the list. Let's see here. Remodeling your bathroom. Okay, remodeling your bathroom may seem. I don't know. I don't want to say it's the hardest thing in the world, and some things may seem pretty easy, but at the end of the day, you're dealing with electrical and plumbing, right? You got lighting in your bathroom, you got pipes in there. So if if you drill into the wall, you can hit a pipe, you can bust a pipe, you can even hit the wires. That's another thing. No matter where it is in the house, if you're going to go behind the wall for something, you got to know where the wiring is. You got to know where the pipes are, the plumbing, all the conduit, everything. Because if you bust one of those, you can risk getting electrocuted, or even worse, starting a fire, and then you may not even have a house after that. So um like if you want to fix a leak, like a leaky sink, or maybe a running toilet, right? That's pretty much, it's not hard at all to do that, right? The toilet's leaking or something like that, you can go ahead and fix that. um but when it comes to like demolishing the bathroom, or anything like that, knocking down walls, you got to be real careful with that, right? Because, like I said, you got the plumbing and you got electricity, and they're really close together when it comes to that, right? They're really close together in the bathroom, so you don't want to just go busting down walls, and next thing you know, you just messing everything up. So I wouldn't list a professional plumber or electrician. Okay, if you're not sure what's behind those walls, don't just try to be a hero and mess everything up and have to pay twice as much to fix it. All right. All right. So what else? What else should you be careful about? How about this? When was the last time you've been on your roof? say you got a leak in your home, the water's leaking through, and you say, "Oh, I'm going to go up there and fix the roof myself," and I'm going to go up there and patch the shingles myself. Well, okay, I get it. Shingles, they kind of look easy, right? You just take the pneumatic air gun and you go, you take the shingle, put it down, and you go boop 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 boop. All right, great. But if you're not aware of the safety risks of going up on your roof, right? If you're afraid of heights, you're probably not going to do it anyway. But I think about 300 people fall off of ladders every year and die. Okay, and that's just a statistic, right? Yeah, that many people probably, I think, fall off of ladders and die every year. So that's something you may want to think about. And what else? I think maybe 5,000, or it's a lot more than that, to get injured. Okay, falling off of ladders, right? So if you're gonna do roof work, be very careful. Um, being on your roof is not for the faint of heart. Okay, I know you see roofers and stuff running up and down the roofs like it's nothing, but if you're not used to that, call a professional to patch the roof or whatever, because you want to come down there safely, right? You don't want to just take chances like that. Okay, so all right, how about installing like light fixtures and fans and stuff like that? Okay, now you're dealing with electricity again. You're dealing with wiring. Okay, you got to make sure this stuff is grounded. You got to know your color codes when it comes to grounds. Um, so if you're going to take out a ceiling fan or a light fixture, a chandelier, or something like that, and you're not sure how to wire it back up, okay, you got to make sure that if you take it out, you take a picture of it with your cell phone to know where the wires go. Okay, so when you put it back up there, you know how to put the wires back where they're supposed to be. Because if not, first of all, it's not going to work, and it can cause a short or something like that, and you can also risk starting a fire as well. Okay, anytime you're dealing with electricity, it's always a possibility that you can start a fire. Perry Life Notes: ladders should have another person there to spot you. Absolutely, you should always have another person there to spot you. I was doing some work in the shop, okay, and it was, I mean, the ceilings at the shop are about, let me see, I'd say about 30 feet high, and I was running some conduit um, up there, okay, and fishing some electrical wire there, and I was on some pretty tall ladders. Matter of fact, I was on a lift, an electrical lift. You guys ever seen those lifts that they just rise up? They look like an accordion, and the guys in the lift, and they go all the way to the top. Well, I was in one of those, and even those have limits to height. Those machines tell you, it's called a man lift, and those machines also have a limit to how high they can go, and tell you don't go this high. Because when I got up there, it's, you have a wide space to walk around. It's a big platform on there, but you still feel it swaying and shaking. And if that thing would have fell, man, it would have been disastrous. Okay, so yeah, ladders. Perigord Life Notes is absolutely correct. You should always have another person there to spot you, right? At least hold the ladder. Maybe have two people, one on each side of the ladder. Okay, so it's just a safer way, right? Falling off a ladder ain't no joke. Like I said, about 300 people a year die. Purdy Do said, my dad fell off a roof. He was pressure washing. Wow, yeah. I wonder if the pressure washing, Purdy Do, pushed him off, because those pressure washers are pretty powerful, and they could, if you're not careful, the water itself, when it comes, it can actually push you back. Yeah. Okay. He said he was alone and had to crawl yards. Wow. He had to crawl yards with a broken hip and legs. Yeah, absolutely. I think I've heard horror stories like that. And if nobody's around, you're doing stuff by yourself, and you fall off a roof, you don't just need people there to hold a ladder. If you get injured, you need somebody, and you can't move and you're immobile, you're going to need somebody to go get help or something like that. So yeah, safety is very important. Perigord Life Notes: should you turn off main power when installing anything? Absolutely, you should. Anytime you're working on anything electrical, you should turn off the main. You should go out there and turn off the main panel. Okay, turn off the sub panel, but if you turn off the main panel, that's even better, right? Because the sub panel, everything in the house to the sub panel is off if you shut the sub panel off, but there's still power from the main panel to the sub panel. So yeah, you want to make sure you turn that stuff off. A metal roof, Purdy Do, man, that's, yeah. Yeah, he was asking for trouble there. Pressure washing a metal roof. Yeah, you kind of could have predicted that. Yeah, I hate to say it. Yeah, 25 yards. Wow, man, he had to crawl 25 yards just to get help. Did he? How was it? He said he broke his hip. How long did it take him to heal, Purdy do? Yeah, that's no joke. That's no joke right there. All right, so another thing that you don't want to do by yourself, you want to call in the pros, and I kind of just mentioned it. It's called replacing your anything electrical, especially your electrical panels, right? Like somebody, you may say, "Oh, that looks easy. I'll just take the panel off and put a new panel on." Well, that's something for a professional to do. If you don't know the right codes, the right color codes, where to connect the wiring, you can connect the wrong wire, or you may connect it. You may not tighten it up properly where it can slip out later, and you don't even know it's loose, and that can cause a short or cause a lack of power in your house. So, and especially if you're an electrician, if you're not an electrician, there's different phases. You got two phase, then you got three phase, okay, and you go into a panel and say, well, I'm just going to connect this and that, and you don't know the difference. You can be asking for electrocution to happen. You don't know the codes. You're not complying with the codes, and all kinds of safety hazards if you don't know what you're doing when it comes to electricity and putting sub panels and panels up and all that good stuff. Okay, just call a pro when it comes to that. If you don't have experience in it yourself, and sometimes even if you're rusty with it, still call up a pro, call up a friend, call up a colleague from the past to help you out with that. Okay, electricity is nothing to play with. All right, let's see here. How about this, guys? You think paint? How about Purdy Do said it took him years. Wow. Yeah. You break a hip, man, it could take you years to heal. You're talking about broken bones. That's even if you heal correctly, right? All right. It's not like the radio operator and down Periscope. Lick your fingers and grab some whites. Okay. All right, Purdy Do. All right, how about this one? You see your walls and they look shabby, the paint is chipping, and you say to yourself, well, you know what? I'm just going to remove the old paint myself. I'm going to, just take it off myself. So you go to Home Depot, or you go to a hardware store and you get you some stuff to take the old paint off. Well, that could be pretty risky. The reason why is because let's just say you have a old house. Like most houses that were built before 1978, most likely they have lead-based paint, right? Those houses, right? Or they have some kind of lead-based paint in the house somewhere, right? Lead is pretty poisonous, guys. So if you have a house that's older than 1978 and you want to paint it again, and you want to take the paint off, and chip it, the old chips and everything, be careful, because most likely you're dealing with lead, and you don't want to do that. All right, you can find yourself pretty sick, in a pretty sick state. Okay, just dealing with that stuff. So be careful with that. Call a pro in, or if you're going to do it, wear the appropriate equipment, do the research, look it up, find out what's going on with that. Okay, so lead. Watch out for lead when you're dealing with these older homes. Pretty do. Wires. Doing fat fingers. Dang, fat fingers. Yeah, they're fat fingers, man. My fingers ain't that fat, but I can imagine if you got big fingers and you're trying to do wiring, man, that can be pretty frustrating, right? All right. So what else do we have here? Talked about light fixtures. We talked about painting. We talked about electrical panels. What about drywall? Drywall seems pretty harmless, right? Well, let's see. Well, drywall, I've hung some drywall. I've repaired some drywall in my day. But if you don't know what you're doing, it can come. The reason it's not that it's so dangerous, but if you don't know what you're doing, it can turn out to be a pretty sloppy job, right? Especially when you're putting the paste on, okay, the coating, you're skim coating the walls or something like that, and you don't know what you're doing. you're a newbie at that, it can come out pretty sloppy. And if you don't know how to sand it off to even everything out, then I would call a pro. Okay, I would call a pro. Now I'm gonna stop here and say, listen, guys, it's not like you can't learn to do these things. It's just that if you're new, understand what you're getting into. Oh yeah, Perigo Life Notes, asbestos. Yes, asbestos is another big thing. A lot of companies, even in the trade world, in the trades, a lot of people who have passed on, their kids, their descendants are getting paid by the courts for their grandfather or whoever was working back then who died of asbestos poisoning. They're still getting a check. Okay, so that tells you how dangerous asbestos is. So you may want to do some testing on what structure you're working on, a house or building, whatever, to see if there's asbestos around, because that thing will take you out, just like lead. Okay. All right. So yeah, once again, with drywall, it's not so much it's going to kill you, but it's although you don't want to inhale that drywall dust and that gypsum. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Drywall seams and texture are an art form. Purdy, do you're absolutely correct. You watch a really good drywaller seam those joints. I mean, it's like an art, just like you said. I mean, and even hey, if you look at most trades, it's almost like an art. If somebody's really skilled at what they're doing, um, because it's so visual, right? The trades is mostly it's physical and it's visual, uh, as opposed to say being an accountant, right? That's an art form too, but it's all cerebral, right? It's all in the head. It's not you just see a person typing at their computer, and all that. You can't necessarily see the art form that goes into being an accountant. But with the trades, you can see the art form into installing wiring, into uh, you know texturing the drywall, or skim coating the seams, or all that. It's an art form, bending pipe and all that good stuff. Hey, Alejandro Salgado, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. Glad you're able to join. Glad you're able to join. So, Alejandro, yeah, we're talking about some, and maybe you can chime in. If I recall, you're a contractor yourself. Chime in on some of the things that the average person, the newbie, shouldn't do when it comes to DIY. Okay. Um, I know we watch a lot of videos on YouTube and these channels like HGTV, and we think we can all do it ourselves. No, certain things you should not approach, right? Just because it looks good on screen and the average person's doing it, the average Joe on YouTube is like fixing something and it turns out great. No, that's not the case, right? You should consult a professional if you're not sure, especially when it comes to electrical, it comes to plumbing, it comes to say you want to remodel your house or knock down walls. That's another thing. If you knock down, say you want to open up the space in a room, and so you want to knock down a wall, right? Sometimes those walls are actually there for a reason. Those are called load-bearing walls. Okay, so they're put there for a reason, to distribute the load evenly in that area. So if you knock down that wall, or that the structures, the main beams in that framing, you can actually be compromising the load-bearing capacity of your home. So you can't just go around knocking down walls. You gotta know what walls to knock down, and a good general contractor or someone like that will know where the load-bearing walls are in a structure, and you just can't knock down anything. Okay, so you want to be careful about that too. Perigo Life Notes: DIY comes with making sure you do research and not have an arrogant attitude about money and skill set. Yes, absolutely. She just touched on what I was saying. She worded it perfectly. You can't be arrogant, man, because pride comes before a fall, right? We all heard that term. Pretty do footing and masonry. Yeah, you don't want to mess with the footings. Okay. Yeah, you said actually make any masonry. Yeah, because that's the foundation of your home. That's the foundation right there. The footings are where everything stands on the footings. You mess that up, you pour the concrete wrong, or you don't let it set right, or whatever. There's bubbles in it or something like that. It's only a matter of time before something happens. Alejandro, oh yes, electrical especially. Yes, knocking down walls. You have to know and be careful. Absolutely, Alejandro. Yeah. And this is what I like about the trades, right? It's technical. It's like you got to know things. It incorporates the laws of physics. It incorporates everything you study in school: physics, chemistry, math. I mean, everything's math, right? All that stuff when it in the trades, you use that. Some people say, "Oh, I'm not going to use that." Well, yeah, you get in the trades, you're going to be using all that stuff. You're going to be using all that stuff. All right. For instance, I'm a welder. I'm a welder as well. And guess what? There's a lot of math involved in welding, believe it or not. Electricity and math. Okay. Very good life notes. Bearing walls and framing is a must know. Absolutely, Perry girl. Yeah, load bearing walls, man. You got those are very critical in a structure, right? They're not just there to look pretty. They're not just there to separate a room. They're there to distribute the weight evenly amongst the structure, amongst the whole structure, right? And so you got to know that. You got to know where they are before you go around knocking stuff down, because you may end up knocking yourself down or waking up in the middle of the night with the house on top of you. You don't want that. I don't wish that on anybody, but just trying to drive the point in, guys, that it's not all about don't just watch these TV shows and these videos and think they're covering every technical aspect of what they're doing. Okay, even on my videos, there are things that I can stress more. Okay, all right. So like I said, it's not about me knowing everything. It's just about me bringing you what I know. But hey, I got to learn too. There's a lot I have to learn. You never stop learning when it comes to this stuff. All right. Okay, let's just say you want to hang a TV or something like that, or some kind of fixture on the wall. You want to hang a TV on the wall. That's big now, right? You got TV, you got the big screen, 30-inch TV on the wall or whatever, and you go drilling into the wall. Well, you got to know what's behind there, okay? Because you can be drilling into, like I said, wiring. You can be drilling into conduit. You can be drilling into plumbing. You can be compromised. You can be drilling into a stud that's part of a load-bearing structure, right? And yeah, you want to drill into the studs, right? But you don't want to compromise the stud. So you got to know what size drill bit to use. Use you don't want to crack that stud behind the wall. You don't want to do that. Okay. So, Purdy Duke, I live in a manufactured home. You can't remove walls due to the building style. Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Because we talked about low bearing walls. Yeah, and like I said, drilling into walls. Watch out for all that stuff. Do they have any kind of device that can detect? I think they do, right, guys? Let me know in the chat. Alejandro, Perry Girl. If they have a device that can detect electricity behind the walls and wiring and stuff like that, pipes. I know they have the stud finders that you can see what's behind there, but what about electric, like wires? I think they have things that can detect electrical current, right? Behind the walls. It's kind of like a stud finder and you can see it. I think I've seen this one commercial one time where this guy had a stud finder that actually on the screen you can actually see the actual, you can kind of look through it, where the regular stud finder you can kind of see the shape, but this thing you can actually see. It's like x-ray vision. It was interesting. I don't know if it's on the market yet or not. All right. What about replacing windows, guys? Is that easy? I know it's probably easy for Alejandro, and all that, but you don't want to just go around replacing the windows if you don't know what you're doing either, right? If it's the first time, or you're an amateur at it, just hey, get some advice on that, right? Because you may end up increasing your energy bill. You may end up increasing your energy bill if you put it in wrong, you don't seal it right. And so if you leave any kind of gaps between the window and the framing, and all the walls, you can get leaks when it rains. You can even get mold damage. Okay, and we know how we talked about asbestos, we talked about lead, but you can even get mold because of if it's not installed properly, the whole moisture thing seeps in, and that causes mold. And mold can be dangerous too. Over time, it can really be hazardous to your health. So when you're installing windows, you got to make sure they're sealed properly and all that good stuff. Okay. Alejandro, yes, replacing windows, you have to make sure there are no gaps. Absolutely. Yeah. Gaps, man. Yeah, you can let that air in, but you can let that air in, you can let that air out, right? When it's hot, you want the cool air to stay in, and when it's cold, you want the warm air to stay in, right? So you don't want any gaps, and you don't want any insects crawling up through there too, because they'll definitely find a way. And if the hole's too big, if you live in a swampy area, you might get some snakes crawling up in there. The realist, they like the heat too. They're always looking for a place to warm up. Okay. All right. This is, most people don't do this, but like, let's just say you want a skylight in your home. It's kind of the same with windows, right? So you want to put a skylight in your roof or something like that. Kind of give, add more light to your space. I get it. I like skylights. They can really brighten the house. They can really brighten a space up. But if you install that skylight wrong and a big storm comes, just like with the window, it's worse with the skylight though, because it's on the roof. So a big storm comes or something like that, and it's installed incorrectly, that thing can come crashing down on you. It'll be a flood coming in. It's just be a big mess. Okay. So, but hey, I love skylights. They brighten up a room like nothing else, right? They brighten up a room like nothing else. I mean, who doesn't like to wake up in the morning and see the sunlight just pouring in through this into their home like that, right? Where they didn't have it before. I mean, that's just. But you got to do it right. So if you don't install it right, you can have, like I said, flooding. You can have mold issues. You can have rot. Rot is a big thing. So you got to be careful with that. Okay. All right. So what about like you need? Okay, let's see here. Pretty do you mean a guaranteed leak point in the Northwest? Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Pretty do. You will definitely have that, a guaranteed leak point. Okay. So if you like to water your plants, without having to go out, or you want without having to get up, just put your plants under the leak. You'll be okay. All right. All right. Let's see here, guys. What about if you want to remove insulation from certain parts of your home? Well, once again, when you're dealing with insulation, we talked about asbestos, we talked about lead, we talked about mold and all that stuff. A lot of insulation that's in these homes, they're hazardous to your health. They're what you call carcinogenic, right? It's like smoking a cigarette. Smoking a cigarette is carcinogenic. Okay, it's not good for you, right? It'll mess you up, mess your lungs up, and all that stuff. Same with insulation, right? So if you remove insulation, okay, you may want to, especially if you don't know exactly how to do it, and you don't have the proper safety equipment on, the masks, the respirators, the ventilators, and all that stuff. Some of that stuff can even get in your skin. Okay. All right. It's not just about breathing stuff. You can actually get it in your skin, and you'll be itching for days if you don't wash it off. It's unhealthy. And so watch out with the insulation, guys. Okay. Call a pro in to do it if it's that bad, if it's that big of a job, and let them take the risk. All right. Okay. All right. So say if you have a basement, guys, if you have a basement and let's just say you want to do a makeover in your basement, you see all these shows. Pretty do. Roof ventilation should be left to the pros. I agree. I mean, we didn't even touch on HVAC. If you want to do an overhaul on your HVAC system, that's you may want to call the pros for that. Okay, because with HVAC, you're dealing with, let's just say you want to replace the ducting or something like that. You got to get up in the roof. You're dealing with some of the stuff we mentioned before. You're gonna have to deal with insulation, moving that stuff around. You're gonna have to deal with getting up in a hot attic, maybe, right? Where the ducting is. Okay, so you risk you risk a heat stroke. And then if you get more in depth into the HVAC work, you're dealing with chemicals, right? That refrigerant, quote unquote, the Freon, that's the trade name for it. That stuff is pretty dangerous, right? If you don't handle it correctly. Okay, so you may want to call the pros for that. And yeah, it is that bad. It is that bad. Perry Girl Life Notes. Um, Now, once again, if you have some experience, this live is not necessary for people that have the experience doing this. I'm talking about the average person that hasn't done any of this stuff before, and they feel that they can. Okay, and it's just kind of like a warning. Okay, for people that think they can do it all without the proper research and all that stuff. But back to basements, right? If you're going to overhaul your basement, um, you want to make sure that they're done correctly as well. Because what can happen is you can end up doing something to cause water to just flood your basement when the heavy rains come. Because remember, water is gonna go it's gonna go down, right? It's gonna find a path down, and you don't want to do something in there to cause leaks to come into your basement because it'll be a big flood, and that's the last thing you want. Then you got to call in. Then you got to call in the pros to pump out all that water because you did something. Also, down there, you also have load bearing structures as well. Because remember, that's down by the foundation of the house. So if you're doing remodeling down there, you want to be careful with messing with any load bearing structures there. Very good life notes. It's not that bad. Then verify, just like repairing your car. Get someone else's opinion. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what I'm saying. Like, get a pro to look at it. Maybe get some advice from them first before you start on the project. Because if not, you can one little mistake, it can be disastrous, man. It could be, you end up having to overhaul more than you wanted to. Right, guys, give this live a thumbs up while you're at it. Okay, give it a thumbs up. And once again, it's sponsored by www.exactac.com, our flagship product, guys. Okay, it's a picture hanging tool that has been out for a little bit. Okay, once hanging pictures is sometimes can be frustrating, but with the Exactac picture hanging tool, it makes it a whole lot easier. Pretty do. Waterproofing is a big deal out here. Yeah, I don't know what you live in the Midwest, Purdy do. I forgot where you stay again. The Midwest, Northwest, I think Pacific Northwest or Northeast. Where you at? I think you mentioned it. Alejandro, I am not a contractor, but I do work in the trades. I worked in road construction. Okay, I think I remember you mentioning that last time, Alejandro. But definitely and I am subscribed to your channel. Hey, Alejandro, I want to say I appreciate you, man. I appreciate your support. It's not unnoticed. Okay, I appreciate every last one of you guys that support me and come on the chat to give me somebody to chat with and talk to, and so when people watch, they can learn and see the interaction. Because I learn from you guys, Alejandro. I learn from you guys as well. Okay, Perry Good Life knows Purdy do. I learn from all of you guys. Oregon, yeah. You know what? Isn't that a pretty green state? Yeah. Hey, I appreciate you too, Alejandro. Okay, the feeling's mutual, man. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it rains a lot up there, but it's a beautiful state, isn't it? With all the greenery and stuff like that. You got a nice patch of land. You can just do whatever you want on there. All away from everybody. That's one of my I guess one of my goals is to kind of have a spot, a patch of land like that, out there, and just some place to call your own. You know what I mean? But you still got to pay property taxes, right? In this country, right? So, do you really own it? I don't know. Okay, let's see what here, guys. Remove. Okay. Well, if I used to live in the desert. I used to live in well, you know what? I'm in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is actually a desert itself. It's just a big city in a desert. It's in a basin, surrounded by mountains and stuff. But I used to live. Oh, your neighbor is selling soon. Okay. Hey, Alejandro, I appreciate you again, man. Very good life, man. Your channel brings reality. Hey, appreciate that. Appreciate that, Prairie Girl Life Notes. You're very much appreciated. Appreciate you coming on here and supporting. I used to live in the desert over there. It's on the border of California and Arizona. It's a small town called Blythe, California. Blythe. Okay, and I liked it out there because it was the wide open spaces, um, clear skies, and all of that. And they didn't have, well, at least the part where I was, uh, they had uh, air conditioning units that were called swamp coolers. Okay, they weren't necessarily the traditional air conditioning units. They use water to cool the home, right? And I forget exactly the technicalities of how they work. Oh, you been to Blythe? Yeah, it's a small kind of one horse town, but hey, the time I was there, I kind of enjoyed it, man. You can go to the Colorado River right there and hang out on the river, or you can go hiking in the mountains, or you can go hiking in the desert. That's what I like about the west side of the United States. You can kind of do all those things. Okay, but yeah, they have Pittsburgh Tea. Hey, thanks Pittsburgh Tea. I appreciate you. Your X5 airless sprayer tutorial is priceless. Thank you, Pittsburgh Tea. Yeah, that's one of the most popular videos I have on the channel. I try to, you know what I try to do on the channel? I try to bring a mix of things for the average newbie DIY person, and I also try to bring content for the actual tradesmen. Okay, or if you're thinking about the trades, I try to bring content that are more trade related, not something you're going to do in your home, right? Like the welding content I talk about, the metal, cutting metal, the fabrication stuff. That's all kind of trade stuff, right? That's not necessarily what the average person is going to do in their home. But if you got kids, or you yourself are interested in getting into the trades, I think it's my responsibility to not just put just home improvement stuff, but actually put actual trade work on the channel to give you an idea of what goes on, and at least in my world, because I'm right now at this particular moment, I'm in the welding field, metal fabrication field as well. I'm also in the trucking field because I've been trucking for a long time. Okay, so I like bringing that kind of mixing it up for you guys. Have you or can you do a powder coat tutorial? Purdy do. That's funny you asked that, Purdy do, because um there is something that I'm working on right now, and I think tomorrow I'm going to go talk to a sandblasting uh, specialist, and then possibly a powder coating specialist as well. So that content may be coming sooner than you think. It's kind of like you tapped into my life right now, because tomorrow I'm going to check out a sandblasting guy about something that I need sandblasted and possibly powder coated. So pretty do. Hey, you're on it, man. You're on it. Yeah. So I try to mix it up. Guys, for you. Okay. So everybody's not going to watch all the trade stuff, the metal fabrication stuff, and you know, the average person's probably going to watch more of the home stuff, like the average, like paint sprayers and stuff like that, because you know that's most people want to paint or need to paint or something like that. So they're not going to go try to fabricate a vehicle or something. But I like bringing it to you guys anyway. So tap in, check it out. Matter of fact, on Thursday I'm going to be laying some steel flooring in a big rig trailer that's being retrofitted to be a welding instruction trailer. And I'm in the video that I'm putting out on Thursday. It's not so much me talking; it's just going to show me laying the floor. Okay, the whole process of laying the floor. And let me tell you, those steel flooring, this one sheet, but maybe 10 foot by 4 foot. Those things are heavy. I'm talking about maybe 250 pounds a sheet. Okay, 250 pounds a sheet, and they cost around $350 a sheet. And you just can't. They look easy to carry, but they're not. They're heavy. It takes about 3 guys just to drag it across the floor. Check out my video on Thursday, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I put some music to the background. Hopefully, you guys like that music. If not, turn it down. Check out the video though. And the only tool I really used for that project was a cutoff wheel, an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel to cut the metal. But at the end, the floor turned out okay. Yeah. So, but that's something you definitely don't want to do at home either, right? Okay, so what else, guys, should you kind of watch out for? Um, I see here, okay, a mini split system. Alejandro, Purdue, Very Good Life Notes. You guys know what a mini split system is? It's kind of like a sounds more like you're making an oven. You know what? In the summertime over here, it is kind of like an oven, right? That trailer. But you got ventilation in there, and yeah, it is an AC. Purdue. It's an AC. A mini split system is an AC, and unless you know what you're doing, you don't necessarily want to install those yourself, okay? Because a bad installation can lead to like poor performance, or it can even lead to the failure of the unit. So you might want to, maybe check out your warranty if you're going to do it by yourself to make sure that, if anything happens, right? Or just get a pro to put it in, okay? Nothing wrong with paying somebody to do it. And when you pay somebody to do it, sometimes you just watch them and learn from them, right? Sometimes it's not, sometimes that's what money's for. Just pay it and learn. But yeah, back to the trailer. I mean, it's going to be retrofitted to be a welding instruction trailer. We already have one that's on the road now that I take to different parts of the city with a nonprofit I'm involved with, and we train people how to weld. So we're building out this new trailer now, and it's a beast. Matter of fact, we need Purdue. We have a fume extraction system because you need those when you talk about welding, because welding fumes they're just as bad as asbestos, just as bad as lead. That you inhale welding fumes too long, it'll mess you up too. It's carcinogenic, it's and all that stuff, cancer causing. So you got to be careful with that. But that's why they have fume extraction systems. But we have a fume extraction system that's a beast that really belongs in a big industrial building, but we're putting it in the trailer. Okay, it's about, I'd say, about 9 feet tall, 4 feet, about 4 feet square, and it's huge. Yeah, Alejandro. Yeah, it would be great if you learn how to weld. I mean, it would definitely add to your skill set, especially if you're doing work out there. You would definitely make you more marketable. If you say, let's just say you want to build fences and stuff like that, or do some light metal work, some light metal fabrication. Welding is a must-have skill. I mean, and it's not that hard, really. Once you learn the basics of it, you just improve over time. The main thing with welding, Alejandro, is that you got to be able to see what you're doing, okay? Because if you can't see, you're just going to be guessing, and it's going to be a mess. So you got to be able to see what you're doing, and really, you want to train yourself to see not just the puddle, as they call it. That's where the wire, the electrode, and the electrical arc is focused on the metal. Okay, it forms that lava-like puddle. But you also want to train your eyes to be able to see the total environment of when you're welding, right? Okay, so you're looking at where you're welding, but you're using that peripheral vision to see the whole environment, so you can know where to stop. Okay, because you can keep welding and you weld right off of your piece of work into something else, and so you got to kind of be able to look ahead as well as look at the actual welding puddle. Yeah, a lot of trades use welders, man. Even plumbers know how to braze, which is it's a different, it's not really welding, but it's a different type. And if you know about soldering irons and stuff like that, it's kind of different aspects of the same thing. Okay, but yeah, check it out. They got, if you lived, I don't know where you're at, but where I'm at, I'm with a nonprofit, and that's what we do. We teach you how to weld. Okay, and it's right here in Southern California. It's called Reignite Hope. Yeah. So if you're in, let me, matter of fact, I'll put that in the chat right now for you, Alejandro. If you're in Southern California, I don't know where you are, but this nonprofit here, it's based out of Gardena, California. .com. Chicago, okay. Anyway, check out the site anyway, and maybe they have maybe they have a trade school in your area, um, and maybe it doesn't cost that much. Or I mean, some people, they don't even, they watch videos and they learn. They buy the equipment. You can buy a welder, a multi-process welder. And when I say multi-process, meaning that there's pretty much basically four types. There's TIG welding, MIG welding, stick welding, and let's just say flux core welding, which is kind of a mix between MIG and stick, right? Those four processes, and on one machine. Okay, so you can just buy one machine and click it, turn the knob to TIG or MIG or this and that, and you have it all in one machine. You just got to buy the consumables. You got to buy the rods. You got to buy the wire. Stuff like that. But it's not hard. It's not hard. You just got to know. You just got to be able to see, and you got to have a steady hand. Okay, you have a steady hand, and you can see. Then you can be a great welder. Yeah. But once again, the average person, if you want to go weld your fence, you want to go weld your fence, and you never did it before, and you say, "Oh, I'll just weld it." Well, no. You may want to, if you don't know what you're doing, you may want to call a real somebody who knows how to weld. Okay, because you can. Guess what? You don't want to be the ground, because remember, you got to ground it, right? Because electricity flows in a circle, right? It goes like that. It has a return to its source, right? And you don't want to be the source it returns to. So you got to make sure you clamp that ground onto your workpiece so that electricity goes back. So welder does come with a ground wire, a ground cord with a ground clamp, and a torch or a stinger that holds the stick rod. But anyway, I'm getting kind of technical, getting kind of into the welding world there. Pretty do. We need to send Mike Rowe your way. Yeah, I seen him. I seen a couple of his show. I know of him. Yeah, yeah. I appreciate the fact that he's that he's letting people know that, hey, the trades is nothing to be scoffed at. It's you'd be surprised what some of these guys make in the trades, man. You go to I always harp on that. It always goes back to, hey, man, you can go get this degree and be all papered up, so to speak, with your degrees and stuff, and be making less than a guy, who's certified in a particular trade. He's bringing home six figures, multiple six figures. Yeah, he is. He's super big on promoting the trades. I haven't seen any of his shows lately, but he always pops into my mind when it comes to this stuff, right? Because I know he's one of the most, or one of the more visible figures out there actually promoting the trades. I don't know if there's anybody else other than him in the spotlight promoting the trades like that. So big ups to Mike Rowe in that respect. You know what I mean? Hey guys, so hopefully you learned something from this live about what to look out for if you're a newbie and you're eager to jump in. You're a handy person, but you want to tackle something that you never really did before. Be careful, okay? Do the research first. This live is not to tell you that you can't do it. Oh yeah, there's one more thing I want to mention. Pretty do. He has a podcast, and Dirty Jobs is back. Oh, Dirty Jobs. Yeah, that's what I remember. The name of it is Dirty Jobs. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna start probably looking at more of his material. Yeah, like one more thing I want to mention: the water heater guy. Water heater. You can't yes, you go on YouTube and you see people DIYing their water heaters, but remember, guys, when you're dealing with water heaters, you're dealing with electricity as well, okay, and plumbing and all that stuff, piping, and you also need permits. You need a permit to change a water heater out. Don't just think you can go do it without a permit, okay? Because you can end up biting yourself in the what, or shooting yourself in the foot without going through the right protocols before you approach a job like that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And say if you add a new addition to your home and you don't get the right you don't do it according to code, then guess what? An inspector will come in there and you tell you to tear the whole thing down. Okay, so don't be so fast and eager. Go through the proper channels. Find out what you need to have paperwork wise, permit wise, before you approach some of these jobs. Okay, and then once you get that squared away, then you could have fun. Pretty do. It's easy just to make sure the power and water's off. It's gas. Yeah, that's it. That's right, Pretty do. You're dealing with gas as well. That stuff is explosive, man. You know, you don't want to, yeah. I think I was watching something about an explosion that happened over in the Middle East a couple of years ago. You don't want that to happen on a mini level to you so be careful. So guys, yeah, thanks for coming on and joining the chat. Okay. Calibrate Tools and DIY will be coming out with a new site for, I'll have some products on there for you guys, some tool kits and stuff like that. Matter of fact, hold on a second, guys. I got a Calibrate Tool Kit for you. I want to show you that it's coming soon. Okay. Here it is, guys. This is Calibrate Tool Kit right here. We got some. Let me open it up for you. Yeah, so I'm gonna be offering that on the Calibrate Tool site. Okay, calibrate.com. It's coming up soon, guys. So look out for it. We're able to offer you guys something, okay? I got some more products as well. Once again, Alejandro, Purdy Do, Perry Girl Life Notes. Thanks for coming on in here. Love you guys. Stay safe out there. Okay. Alejandro in Chicago, Purdy Do in Oregon. Stay safe out there. And anybody watching, I want you guys to stay safe out there. Okay. Be productive with your time. And thanks for coming on in. Anybody in the replay. Calibrate Tools and DIY is here just to teach and learn. I'm here to learn from you guys as well as you learn from me. And we can have a great time doing that. And I will see you next Tuesday at 7 on the live. Okay. Have a good one.